I look back very fondly at my elementary school years, for the most part. I made a lot of friends during those times. I remember going to the playground that my elementary school had and playing with my friends there damn near every day during first grade. I remember also going to the open field that my elementary school had and playing with my friends there. It was easily the most social I've ever been for my whole life, pretty much. But yeah, anyways, those were some really great memories that I will forever cherish for the rest of my life. And I can't help but think about the kids who are that age now, especially after meeting up with my cousins a few weeks ago, and one of them brought their 7-year-old grandson. They live out in Jersey, and his school experience right now is just sitting at home in front of a computer in a Zoom call. And I'm like, the fuck kind of childhood is that? Now, look, I know COVID-19 precautions and all that. I am completely for schools shutting down and other places shutting down to stop the spread of this fucking virus, but still, I can't help but feel bad for the kids who are at the age I was when I was having so much fun playing with my friends and even meeting up with them at their house or they come to my house. And I remember the birthday party I had when I was like 10 years old. Holy shit, I got all my friends to come here. I had my cousins come here too. It was just a huge fucking blast. And to think kids can't really do that these days because of this fucking virus, it just saddens me. Over here in NYC, I believe schools are still open. I think on certain days it's just distance learning. I could be wrong on that, but I know for a fact students are still going to school. But of course, a lot of precautions are in effect. Students have to social distance. I don't think they can go outside and play anymore because of course, there's really no social distancing in that because a lot of students like to play with each other. And overall, it's just I can't imagine how that experience must be when these kids grow up and they look back at their elementary school years. They probably won't look back at it with the same fondness that I look back at it with, but instead they're going to remember the social distancing. They're going to remember, not being allowed to go near their friends and all that shit. And again, look, I have no issue with this, of course. Stop the spread of the virus. Do whatever you can to stop the spread of the virus, but still, I just can't help but feel bad for these kids who don't have the same experience that I did when I was going to elementary school. And that honestly breaks my heart. Like, fuck this virus, man. It's robbing kids who are growing up now of a normal childhood. And this is the age where they're at their most energetic, and it's really sad because they can't let out a lot of that energy with other kids their own age. A lot of places kids go to for fun are now closed. Having a social circle is now discouraged because these kids are so young that if one of them has the virus, they're asymptomatic and they could spread it to their friends and then they could spread it to their parents or grandparents or other people who may be more susceptible to this virus. It's really a scary and depressing time we're living in. And I'm sure thanks to this, we'll be seeing a lot more socially awkward people in the future, even more so than now, because we're raising a whole generation of young kids to be discouraged from going to public spaces. Many kids in this country can't even physically go to school and meet with their friends or make new friends because of this virus. And the thing that really sucks is there is really no solution to this because this is all being done to slow the spread of COVID. This is the new normal now. This is just something that we all have to adapt to until hopefully a vaccine comes, if one even comes at all. Distance learning and socially distancing at school and not being able to have as many opportunities to make as many friends as you can in school could just be the new way of life. It could be how future generations are raised, and that thought just depresses me to no end. And this isn't to mention all the kids who grow up in lesser fortunate homes with perhaps abusive families, and school was really the only escape for them, and they had friends that they could go to and confide to or feel comfortable with, and their family may not have been able to provide that basic need, and now they're robbed of that too because now they're home a lot more, they're with their abusers a lot more. And who fucking knows, with all the stress in the world right now, that could just amp up the abuse even more. I consider myself extremely lucky. I had a very happy childhood. I've always been very socially awkward, so quarantine is really not an issue for me. Distance learning isn't that much of an issue for me, even though I do kind of want to go back to physical classes and actually, see people in person again. But like I said, I'm not the most social person ever, so I'm completely fine with distance learning. And I'm with a very loving family, and I love the place where I live, so being at home all the time is also not a problem for me at all. But there are plenty of people out there who can't say the same thing. And there are plenty of kids out there who should have had a normal childhood, but can't because of the virus. This just makes me all the more glad that I graduated high school just a year, well, actually less than a year, before COVID hit. And that's another thing I should mention. Graduation. Graduation just being held over Zoom. I mean, like, what the fuck? Imagine, you're waiting for that big payoff only for it to happen just over a Zoom call. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. I guess you can say I'm being robbed of the quote unquote college experience. That's what my mom says, but really I don't feel that robbed at all because I wasn't really socializing with anyone in college, so I don't feel like I'm being robbed of anything, but maybe I am. Maybe I am. I don't know. But anyways, God help us all. Hopefully a vaccine comes someday, God willing. And hopefully someday soon we will return to some kind of state of normalcy, hopefully. And above all else, hopefully soon kids can go back to leading a perfectly normal, happy childhood where they can socialize amongst each other, play with each other, do normal kid things with each other without having to worry about spreading a deadly virus around. But maybe that's just wishful thinking because this world is an unfair dumpster fire, especially in the year 2020. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye.